It's not yet 11:45, but we're going live, and this is the song I sing while I'm waiting for the live stream to kick in, cause sometimes it doesn't kick in for a little while. So I have a little song that I sing that you may or may not hear. Hello, beautiful people! I'm Bonnie Gillespie. We are going to talk about Uranus in Gemini. It's happening. It's happening. Uranus is shifting into Gemini tomorrow night as I talk to you right now. I'm talking to you right now on Friday, April 24th, 2026. On Saturday, April 25th, 2026, at 6 p.m. Pacific, we are going to have Uranus shift into Gemini for the first time ongoing in 84 years. And I say ongoing because we did get a preview of Uranus in Gemini last year. We got it from July 7th to November 7th, 2025. So go back into your calendar, your journal, look at your old emails, texts, social media, whatever it is that helps you kind of like root something in time, although I know what is time. Take a look at July 7th, 2025 to November 7th, 2025. That is when we all got a preview of what is Uranus and Gemini going to be like for each of us. Now, Uranus is an outer. Technically, it is the first of the outers. And the longer we live, the less it behaves like an outer and the more it behaves like a social planet, like Saturn, for example, that we all experience Saturn, and we get Saturn returns every 27 and 28-ish years. Depends. Uranus takes 84 years to go around. So unlikely that we will get more than a Uranus return. But the fact that we're probably each going to get Uranus returns as we continue to live longer and longer and longer lives, it gets a little more like a social planet and a little less like an outer. Outers being things that we measure historically, because it takes looking back at generations to know what it is that the planet's signature is going to be in each of the signs that it goes through, because we never live long enough to get back to it in that sign. Of course, Uranus, 84 years to go all the way around. We are definitely getting lifespans up there where it's not even a big deal to get to your Uranus return. So with that in mind, we're going to be talking about Uranus and Gemini for each rising sign. If you don't know your rising sign, then use either your sun sign or your moon sign when you hear me going through the rising signs. All of them will clock somehow, somewhat. But if you have your rising sign, it's going to make a big difference in understanding where this is going to land in your life. And so here's why the where is important. Well, because if you're going to have some upheaval, because everybody on the internet's talking about how Uranus is all the upheaval. If you're going to have some upheaval, you kind of like to know where that's going to show up. And my framework for Uranus is this planet is always coming into a space going, where am I not free? I'm checking the place out. I'm like a real housewife who had some pre-cocktailing, had some roadies, got to the party, dinner party's going on. It seems calm. It's always a trick. It's always a trick. It's never calm. Like Real Housewives is the series where people who don't generally like each other get together for meals, but they never actually eat. They just are very well lit while they yell at each other and sometimes throw drinks at each other. Uranus comes in to the Real Housewife party going, where am I not free? Because I'm about to go over and flip a table for wherever it is that I'm not free, and I'm going to get free. So I like to say that Uranus is not so much about randomly creating chaos. And that's a lot of what the hype is right now. If you listen to a lot of people talking about Uranus moving into Gemini, so much chaos, so much disruption, so much upheaval. Yes, those are words, yes, that we can use, but also Uranus is looking for where am I not free, and I'm going to break shit until I get free. And so we always can look back at our Uranus in whatever sign era and go, oh yeah, now that Uranus has moved through that sign, I am definitely more free there than I once was. And the formula that we use for chart harmony Mad Libs is the planet is the what, the sign is the how, and the house is where it's all going to show up in our lives. And that's why I'm asking you to check your rising sign, because I'm going to go through Aries through Pisces rising for where this is going to show up in your life. The where, the houses are determined by that rising sign. So the what being the planet, Uranus, planet of, yes, chaos, disruption, innovation, activism, shaking things up, coming in and saying, I would like all of this to be rearranged. But not for the point of chaos, not with a why of, I just like mayhem, although sometimes it feels that way. Much more with a mission of, we're going to get free on the other side of this. The house we're going to get into with the risings, but the how of it all is the sign that it's in. Uranus moving into Gemini means that the chaos creating of Uranus, which we've all been experiencing in Taurus for the past 8 years, yes, since 2018, all of the chaos that we've been experiencing of Uranus in Taurus, we are now going to shift over into the how of Gemini. The how of Taurus, important to mention, slow and steady, fixed sign, earth sign. Taurus is in it for the long haul. Uranus gets into Taurus and goes, I can't do a lot of agitating here, because this sign's how is very stoic. This sign's how is very deliberate. This sign's how is slow and low, chill, unbothered. And Uranus is like, I'm really being wasted here. Like, what do I need to do to get y'all's attention? And that's why we have lots of things like big weather experiences, because Taurus represents the planet Earth. When we look at all of the signs, Taurus is the one that we look to for what is happening on planet Earth. And Uranus in Taurus since 2018, big weather trends, fault lines we didn't know existed suddenly going, hey, earthquake, just bizarre things happening on the planet, in the environment, all of that good stuff. Yes, but with resistance, because Taurus is so very fixed. When we get Uranus moving into Gemini, as we will in 18 hours, 36 hours, math, in 30, not important. Yes, 24, 30 hours. In 30 hours, when we get Uranus moving into Gemini, we're going to have the energy of Uranus, frenetic, chaotic, hyper, nervous system going like this constantly. Lots and lots and lots of fast. I'm just looking around, looking for where I want to put this energy kind of vibe. Gets into Gemini. Gemini's energy, also this. Gemini's energy, very curious, very mercurial, very, I think I'm going to go this way. No, wait, I'm going to go that way. Wait, I'm going to look over here. Nope, I'm going to head up. Communication, maybe here. Like, we're going to change things up. Gemini is so freaking mutable. And Gemini loves that. Gemini loves, I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go until I'm headed in that direction, and then decide if I like it or not. And then I may change directions, and I don't have to signal before I make these changes. So the Gemini part of our chart already has a little bit of that, not chaos, but curiosity, changeability, energy to it that feels a little more frenetic. And then we get Uranus in there going, this is a good fit for me. Now, at first, it's going to feel like a lot. And for those of us who get our woo early, we're already going, yeah, check. This feels like a lot. My nervous system is rattled. Those of you who are like, hey, you know what we haven't done yet? Have you hugged yourself today? See, I went right into it. I went straight into Gemini brain. Words, words, words. Got to get that hug in. Get that hug in. Get that shadow side. Thank you for reminding me I'm in a body. I am not just a brain. I am not just a nervous system going all over the place. But if you've been feeling that, it's not your imagination. Things have been moving fast because all of the outers have been moving into air signs, fire signs, and that's just a lot of energy, a lot of movement, a lot of constant go. And Aries season, I mean, for fuck's sake, was a lot. I'm gonna share my screen for a couple of things. I'm gonna show you some slides that you've seen before if you have watched my previous conversation about Uranus moving into Gemini for that preview that we were having. But I just want to show you for a second. It's not your imagination. All this energy over here in Aries, absolutely yes. Now, we're 4 days into Taurus season at this point, but I would like to take us back. Let's take us back a week. Yeah, let's take us back a week and a day. Let's do that. Let's get us back to that new moon in Aries. So I'm just taking us back a week, and I would like to show you Mercury, Neptune, Mars, Saturn. Don't worry about the midheaven. That's just the point calculated by the rising sign of the chart that I have created here today. The moon, Eris, that's an extra that I have turned on, so we don't need to dive deep into that just yet. Chiron and the sun, all in Aries at the same time. So much in Aries all at once that we had to create wings to this house. Like this house, it needed a front porch and a backyard porch, a balcony. Like we need like extensions on the house. We need new wings on the house just to fit everything into Aries that was there all at once. Not your imagination. So as we get back to the now of it all, we still have wings added on to the house. We still have extra stuff in there, and it's cramming a lot of energy in there. But now the moon has moved on over. She's in Leo now. She's very happy. She's basking in all of that glow. It looks good on her. We've got the sun at 4 degrees Taurus, so we've moved into Taurus season. And Venus has moved on into Gemini to give us a preview. Gemini's going to start, Venus is going to start getting out ahead of the sun because she's going to be going retrograde later this year. So she likes to get way out ahead, and then she'll do her retrograde illusion, and it's just a beautiful thing to behold. But Uranus is our feature here. Just the reason I wanted to mention all the Aries is fast, and also headaches, migraines, I can't sleep. Why is my head hurting? What's going on? Fevers. I had a fever for like seriously 10 days. I'm like, what the actual? And it's just all that heat, all that fire, all that energy. So we are now going to have some of that spread over into Taurus, which is going to make things feel a little bit slower and a little more deliberate, and we like all of that. But I want you to notice, here's Uranus at 29 degrees, 55 minutes. We're in our final hours of Uranus in Taurus until 84 years from now when they get back over to Taurus. So in Gemini, which is where we are headed, we've got all of that fast energy. And I want to share, these are from slides from a previous live stream, so I won't go deep into all of this, but just to notice the pattern. And this is the biggie that everybody's talking about. Every astrologer's putting this out there, and here I'm going to do it too. The pattern for Uranus in Gemini, little disconcerting. Now, when we were having this conversation in the summer of 2025, and I was saying, hey, we're about to get a preview of Uranus in Gemini from July 7th, 2025 to November 7th, 2025. Let's see what that's going to be like. We're like, where's the war that we're going to be in? Because clearly, American Revolution, U.S. Civil War, U.S. enters World War II. Like, we like Uranus in Gemini wars, right? Cut to April of 2026. Got it. War. Yeah. Sure thing. We sure are. Yep. We're there. So I want you to take a look at the world of Uranus through a couple of different lenses. And I'm sorry, how gorgeous. I love all the stuff that's getting sent back to us from web. Just beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. The key words for Uranus: disruption, rebellion, advocacy, chaos, innovation. Sure. And the one that I didn't put up here at all, that I'm going to ask you to just highlight and put somewhere that you can remind yourself, especially in the first year of Uranus in Gemini, where we're really getting used to how it feels on the ongoing. Because they're going to be there. Uranus is going to be in Gemini till 2033. We'll get a little preview of Uranus in Cancer in 2032, but we got a nice long time that we're going to be used to our era of Uranus in Gemini. But that first year in particular, that first full year, which starts April 25th, 2026, like now, I want you to just start noticing freedom. Where can I get more freedom out of this part of my chart? And the part of your chart that we're talking about is Gemini, which is where we are curious, we're clever, we're going to be perceived as fickle or superficial. And what that actually means is we go and see if we're interested in something, and if we're not, we do not care what people think if we stop doing that thing and move into something else. Gemini, D-N-G-A-F. What's the acronym? Gemini does not give a fuck about what you think when they change their mind at all. Because Gemini changing mind, that's the MO. That is absolutely what Gemini is here to do. Try it, change it, try it, change it, try it, change it. Why not? Also, very witty, very clever, sparkling conversationalist, all of this very good, fun stuff. So, what we want to remember is when I said I'd like you to take a look at the whole experience through a couple of different points of view. Here's what I mean. If the world of Uranus in Gemini gets too scary, too much war, too much chaos, too much I cannot get my footing, my nervous system is all over the place, I want you to zoom in. I want you to say, okay, the world is a lot, zoom in. Zoom in to the Gemini part of your chart and look at what is it that Uranus is doing for me in this local space. What is it that Uranus is creating freedom for me in my chart using this Gemini space? What is it that's going on here that is an opportunity for growth, for freedom, for expression in a whole new way? And then if that gets too much, if you're like, my little life right here is just cracking open, I am feeling all of the nervous system overload, this is so much, this is a lot, I can't keep having this much chaos in this particular part of my life, zoom out. Zoom out to the big picture. What is Uranus doing with the collective? What is changing about technology, specifically technology around communication, because Gemini is how we communicate. This is going to be a whole new world when it comes to, I read a book years ago called A World Without Email, and it's by Cal Newport, and I went like email free probably about 5 years ago, and I remember going off Facebook back in 2010, 2011, like I was like, what I need to do is change the way I'm using all the things, because the way they want us to use these things is problematic. So I'm going to use these things in ways that work for me, not that work for them. And so I became like the anti-algorithm person in the way I use my communication, my technology. Some would say that's already doing some Uranus shit in Gemini. Definitely. But what I'm saying is start thinking about how there's not only one way to do the kind of communication that we're used to. And I do mean things like AI. I do mean things like robotics. I do mean things like being able to think a thing and someone else is thinking that thing and y'all go bing and go, oh, yep, clear. We read each other. Because those are the kinds of things that Uranus and Gemini will make more accessible. And again, if ever you're freaking out because of all the big things that are happening in the world, zoom in on your life. And if you're freaking out about all the things that are happening in your life, zoom out at the bigger picture of the world. Uranus is one of those planets that can allow us to see the evidence of what's happening in our lives right now, as well as what's happening socially. And that's why I kind of clump it more with the social planets than the outers, just because we're able to see that impact before it hits generationally. Okay, so one more thing that I want to underscore. The place where Uranus is creating change in your life is not arbitrary. Like, it's not just for the sake of, shiggles. It's not Uranus coming in and saying, let's just see what we can, mess up around here. It's not that. It is for real. This is a place that is ripe for an opportunity for change. And so if you'd like to get out ahead of that, this guide to your house by house, rising by rising sign, Gemini Uranus exploration, get out ahead of it by showing up to that Gemini part of your chart and asking, what is already craving change? What is it that would love some freedom? Where is it that innovation is being asked for here? And can I go ahead and start moving into that space and in that mindset so that it's not jarring to me, so that it is not creating chaos in my world? Now, easier if you are mutable on the angles, and the angles are first house, fourth house, seventh house, 10th house, using whole sign houses. If you have rising of, let's see, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, if you are any of those rising signs, you are going to have an easier time of going with the flow, because you already have mutable signs on the angles, which angularly is where we tend to find things the most impactful in terms of aspects and transits and things that are happening with ingresses and returns and other relationships in the woo weather. Now, if you are someone who has fixed rising, meaning Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, you're like, whoo, I am so glad this Uranus era is over and off my angles, because you are done with all of that agitatiness. It doesn't mean you're not going to experience it, but you will only experience it the most when it is on your angles. So let's get to it. Let's talk about what that is. I got my little list in front of me. As always, we start with Aries rising because Aries insists that we do that. Aries rising, you are going to be experiencing the visit of Uranus from now until 2033 in your third house of communication, education, socials, writing, getting things out into the world. Also your siblings, cousins, if you don't have close siblings, if you don't have close cousins either, then it's super, super, super close in friend groups. It's like the group that you came up with as a young one. You are going to find a disruptive relationship with how you do your communicating, your socials, your writing, and your relationship with those close in family folks. If you are Taurus rising, this one is going to feel a little challenging because Uranus is going to be showing up in your house of finances and belongings. And so this can be a little bit of a challenge, because if you're used to having a steady flow of revenue and your job pays you this much and you can count on it and it happens every fortnight and you have that kind of order, Uranus is going to come in and say, maybe we need to shake things up around how you get paid, how frequently you get paid, how much you get paid. Don't decide that this is going to be negative. This can actually be way for the positive. So just consider that there's going to be a little bit of shifting around maybe the job that you have, the survival job or the thrival job that you have while you're pursuing your dreams. You may find that there is a shift in where the energy is focused for bringing that money in, and that can then of course also shift how you feel about your own enoughness. And so the way to get out ahead of that is do some Venus work. Yes, I'm bringing Venus into the conversation because especially with Taurus rising, anything you can do to connect with your chart ruler Venus is going to help you with your state of enoughness, which means even as money may fluctuate, you don't let that change how you feel about yourself and your ability to manifest, because Taurus rising, you can always manifest. Gemini rising, you are the stars, baby. Gemini rising, this is it. You are going to experience this transit, this time of Uranus being in your first house. From now until 2033, you are going to experience physical changes. You are going to experience personality changes. You are going to shift how you show up in the world. You know, in the chart harmony world, we have the life car, and the rising sign, and the ruler of the rising sign is the driver of the life car, and then the sun is the navigator, and the moon is the backseat driver, making sure all the needs are met. So if this concept is foreign to you, I will link in the description to my life car live stream, so you can check it out and make sure that you understand where you are with all of that. But for my Gemini risings, this means you are actually going to change out how this car is driven, like maybe even to the point of we don't need roads where we're going. Like we change from being in a life car that is on the ground to one that is hovering, or one that changes between those two. What do I mean in a non-metaphorical way? Physically, you could feel yourself going through changes. You could change your look. You could change your style. You could change how you express yourself and how you, personality-wise, want to come across in the world. And remember, it's always asking, where am I not free? So if there's ever anything that you have wanted to express, but you have felt yourself kind of going, oh, let me tuck that in a little bit, not after Uranus is finished with your first house. You are going to have a time with that Uranus coming across your rising, coming across that angle, hitting your ascendant. You absolutely will feel this shift. And how to get out ahead of it, start experimenting now. Go ahead and start allowing yourself to do some things that you would have thought, that's a little freaky. Go ahead and allow it, and start getting okay with other people witnessing it, because it's going to be a whole thing. Might as well start enjoying the journey now. For Cancer risings, all right, y'all. Cancer rising, this is going to be a whole mental health thing. This is going to be Uranus coming in and shaking up how you dream, how you do the subconscious, how you do your psychic vibes. Cancer rising, you're already psychic and you know that, and you worry a lot about it. So now you're going to worry less about it. It's going to get real clear that you are receiving information. It is landing in you in your 12th house. And your work, Cancer rising, is to find ways to get this information out into the world in ways that feel safe to your sweet little Cancer rising. So go ahead and lean on into that, because it's going to be happening. Might as well go ahead and enjoy it. Do something that feels a little low stakes, if that seems a little scary right now, Cancer rising. And that means, like, do something like a regular card pull. Maybe every time the moon is in Gemini, so 13 times a year when the moon moves into Gemini, maybe do something that feels a little like connecting with that 12th house, quiet communication, those dreams, those downloads that are showing up, and make it feel like something that doesn't have a lot of pressure to it, because you don't have to monetize it just because it's something that happens in your life, although you probably will. Just enjoy that the messages are coming through and that they're clear, and don't worry if they don't make sense to you, because they're clear to the person you're meant to share them with. All right, Leo rising. Hello, my star. Leo rising, it is time for your audience and your activism to get shooken up. Your audience at large, which of course, Leo rising, you know you have an audience always. It's your friend group. It's where you spend your energy in terms of getting social out in the world and being seen, but it's also where you are an activist. It's where you are doing things for the collective, where you're making the world a better place, not just for you, but for everyone. So your energy is going to be, I'm going to take that stage, I'm going to take that mic, and I'm going to make my voice heard for the collective. So whatever it is that you're here to fight for, whatever it is that feels aligned with you, definitely go ahead and start practicing that TED Talk. Go ahead and start getting on those stages. I know, Leo rising, I don't have to give you too much of a nudge for that, but you are going to feel very free doing some of this speaking out now, and it's going to resonate with your audience in a way that feels really good. So yay, 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 yay. All right, my Virgo risings. Is that next? Yes. Virgo risings. This one's a biggie for you. This is going to be hitting in your 10th house. Your 10th house is your house of the public eye, your career, who you are in front of the world, what your reputation is, how you do the things that you do for money, okay? So this one is going to have big impact. This is one of those angular houses. Remember, first house, fourth house, seventh house, 10th house. Anytime we've got big transits coming to those places, we can expect big shifts in those parts of our lives. First house, personality. Fourth house, house and home. Seventh house, one-on-one relationship. 10th house, career. So Virgo rising, career shakeup. Get ready. Here it comes. You've probably already been feeling it. You've probably already been getting some senses that it's coming because, of course, mutable. You're already feeling that. I am going to request, please, Virgo rising, that you use the mantra that we came up with yesterday in my Live Your Chart membership. And if you would like to join my Live Your Chart membership, I'll put a link in the description below. You can come join us. You can watch the replay from yesterday so that you can get all caught up on this. But the mantra that we kept coming to, and this one's it's going to sound like it's hurtful. It's not. It's not about you, Virgo. It's not about you, Virgo. It's not about you, Virgo. And here's what I mean. It is going to be really easy to sick that Virgo rising on that career 10th house and get hypercritical about how things are going. Virgo rising can notice Virgo sun, Virgo moon, Virgo. Y'all notice all the things. You absolutely notice all the things. It is a gift that you have, and it is a gift that you have so you can be a complete and total healer. However, it is a gift that you turn in on yourself, just like the Virgo glyph turns right in on itself. I do not want you to sabotage the amazing shakeups that are coming to your 10th house of career, that are going to allow you to be more free, that are going to allow you to be more bold, that are going to allow you to be more creative than you've ever been in your career. Virgo rising, I am not going to let you sabotage that by going, but what about this? But what about this? But what about this? I see all these details about how it's not going to work out. It's not about you, Virgo. It's about Gemini. And Gemini also ruled by Mercury. So Virgo ruled by Mercury, Gemini ruled by Mercury. So it's kind of like the toxic twins of Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry. Like, they're great together, but are they? There is a little bit of that. Let me take what Mercury is trying to communicate over here in Gemini and make sure that I am understanding everything correctly. No, it's not about that. It's not about that, Virgo. It's not about that. It's not about you. Go lean into how much can I sample and experience as an experiment in my career, and how much can I find freedom through these things that I sample. And don't worry that it makes you look shifty, that you haven't settled down on something yet. You already know from being mutable on the angles, Virgo rising, that you can get through this. You've got this. But this first year in particular is going to feel a little shaky uppy in ways that could be outside your comfort zone. And Virgo, sorry about it. You're going to have to be okay with being a little shook around your comfort zone for a while. All right, Libra rising. Libra rising. This is going to be a shakeup of traveling internationally, speaking internationally, publishing internationally, doing astrology, doing law, doing philosophy, doing academia, doing things that fall into the professional brain space. Gemini loves being here because it's such a place of exploration. It's such a place of trying things on and getting good at things and then sharing those things far and wide. So this could be a really fun time of experimentation if you allow yourself to try these things on. Very, very similar to what I just said to Virgo, in that Libra will go, but does it look okay? Because Venus ruled, how does it look? How does it look? How does it look? So Libra rising, don't worry about how it looks. Go ahead and get messy. Be in that mess, because it's going to be messy anyway. So go ahead and get in the mess. Make it intentional mess. You're going to have a lot more fun if you do it that way. Next up is our Scorpio rising. Scorpio rising, this energy is going to be in a place that feels so good in your chart already. It's the 8th house. This is the house of mystery. This is where we go for death and sex and the occult. This is where we have magic. This is also where entrepreneurs, we have other people's money. So Scorpio rising, we're going to have a little shakeup around how other people's money gets to you. So the money that we don't control. I love 8th house money. I love working with entrepreneurs who deal with 8th house money, because the way it works is, instead of the 2nd house of I go and put in this number of hours, and when I clock in and clock out, this is recorded, and then I get paid this kind of money for this kind of time that I've spent. That's 2nd house money. 8th house money is I show up in the world in some ways that are kind of mysterious. It doesn't really track or make sense to me. It doesn't seem like when I do this, it creates that, because it's not up to me. It's suddenly people will come into my life and just infuse my world with money. They will buy a whole bunch of something that I offer that I wasn't even really trying to sell right now. And that lack of control can feel disconcerting, especially to Scorpio rising. But let me tell you, this is going to be a really fun time to have things available that you don't put a ton of push behind, because it's not about how you market it. It's not about who you get it out in front of. It is just, it's available and it's got a little magic to it. And let Uranus come in and say, let's free you up to allow more of this, to receive more of this. And I think that just looks amazing. So enjoy that, Scorpio rising. Now, Sagittarius rising. Sagittarius rising, another one of my mutable risings. This is one of the signs that's going to be feeling this in the house of relationships. Now, the one-on-one relationships can sound like a scary place for experiencing Uranus shakeup, because Uranus comes in to that 7th house of one-on-one relationships. This is for Sagittarius rising. It feels like, oh God, chaos. I'm going to lose my relationship. I'm going to lose my one-on-one. My person is going to leave me. Something is going to happen. Now, I experienced my Uranus visit to the 7th house back when Uranus was in Aries, because I have Libra rising. And here's what I can tell you. My personal experience of a 7th house Uranus transit was I suddenly got into pole dancing. I had never experienced pole dancing before. Notice home pole right behind me here. I had always been curious about it. Like, I heard people on red carpets, like, when they, oh, you look great, what are you doing? And they'd go, S Factor, or they go, oh, I've been doing pole. And I'm like, so I'm hearing it coming about. I am aware that this is becoming a thing. There is very definitely some interest in this. And I went to a class that a student of mine, a self-management for actors student of mine, was graduating from her pole class, and I went to her graduation performance. And one of the things that they did was they got us all in the floor, low lights, moving around, and just in the floor, moving hips, doing little hip circles, doing just some of that sensual movement. And I started bawling, and I was like, what is happening? What is in me, and what is happening? I don't understand. By the time I got clear on what Uranus was doing in my 7th house, I not only had signed up for all the pole classes, but I became full-on pole evangelical, had my first home pole. This is my second home pole. Like, everybody I talk to is coming to pole with me. You're in my life, you're coming with me to pole. No matter what was going on out in the world, I was able to show up to class, flip my ass upside down. I can fly, I can do magic, I can do anything. And of course, this shifted lots of things in my one-on-one relationship. This changed things for us therapeutically. This changed things for us just in terms of sensuality, in terms of how I was taking care of my own trauma and the blocks that I had. And the reason I'm spending this much time sharing this with you is because it can feel threatening when Uranus comes to the 7th house. If we are like, no, I like my relationship, I don't want anything to change. It doesn't have to be that the person is gone. It doesn't have to be that you leave that person. It can actually be that changes take place that are so deep within your 7th house that it changes the nature of the relationship. And it doesn't have to be because of a separation or a loss. And I just want to make sure to underscore that, because that is one where getting clear on Uranus is disruptive in ways like Bonnie suddenly takes pole 5 to 8 times a week. This is a very big shift in the before and after story of what Uranus did to this part of my chart. Okay, so I would like you to think about that similarly. See if that gives you some feelings of freedom and less trepidation. Hopefully it will. But Sagittarius rising, you're already down for the adventure, so you're going to have a little bit easier time of it than I did with my cardinal on the angles. So go mutable angles, go, go, go. Next up, we have our Capricorn rising. Capricorn rising, this one's going to be a little bit challenging because it's going to be your day-to-day life that is going to be experiencing the upheaval of Uranus. So Uranus in the 6th house really likes to change up how the day-to-day is done. And that means every day something could be different. Every day, something that you do habitually could be treated in a new way, could be met with freedom in a new way, but it could start to feel a little bit like chaos. And so especially for Capricorn rising, go ahead and get on out ahead of that by allowing yourself variety in your day-to-day now. And what I mean by that is, even if you do the same thing every day of the week, like you have a very important to you ritual, I'm not asking you to disrupt that. Uranus is going to do that already. But what I'm asking you to do is, can you gamify it a little bit? Can you say, every Friday I balance the budget, but I am going to do it differently each Friday, and I'm going to choose how I do it based on the card I pull or the dice that I throw or the numerology of the day. Like, give yourself something that makes it a little different so that it doesn't have to feel like chaos coming at you. It can instead feel like, yeah, this is just a new way that I'm trying that same thing I do. See if you can blend the order that you already have with the chaos that is definitely going to show up there. Now, Aquarius rising, you are going to have an experience of disruption in the part of your chart that already likes to take a lot of risks. So this is where we have kids. If you have kids, you look for them here. If you want to have kids, you look for that experience. And is it going to be likely? Is it going to be soon? You look for your a lot of that kind of conversation. Fertility is a bigger conversation overall, but in general, you can take a look at your fifth house. This is also where we take risks. This is where we have affairs. This is where we take the stage and say, hey, see me. I am okay with having a little light on me in this part of my life. This is where we play the lottery. This is where we gamify things. We gamble, take those risks. So if you are childless by choice and you are someone who is looking at this through the lens of maybe like your inner child, this will be a time when Uranus is going to come through and say, where are you not free in the way you relate with your inner child and your own conversations with yourself about who you are and how you had your upbringing, and maybe you want to shift some of that in some fun ways. But this feels like a frisky time to enjoy some of what that fifth house shakeup could bring. And especially if you've never felt lucky, you're going to start feeling lucky over these next 8 years. And so I love that for you. Pisces rising. All right, Pisces rising, you are going to experience this in your fourth house. So again, we're mutable on the angles. So Pisces rising, this is home, house, real estate. This is going to be upheaval around property, maybe doing some renovations, selling house, buying house, ancestral home, those types of things. This can also be connection with people in your lineage down that line of your ancestry, and what kind of connections need to be shaken up a little bit. Where can you look for more freedom around something that seems a little more like history? And I know for Pisces rising, it's already like the whole chart is kind of all over the place. And so it's not so much like you feel like this is going to be a challenging thing to do, but it's going to be something that's going to draw your attention in ways that you may have sort of like not really noticed that there's energy there that is asking for you to take a look at it and find some freedom. And again, with Uranus, this can be as simple as, I don't cook. Like I'm over here going, I burn water. And then suddenly you find yourself exploring family recipes and you put yourself in the kitchen more, doing things that you never thought you would do. And by the end of Uranus in Gemini in your fourth house, Pisces rising, you've written and published a line of recipe books, like cookbooks. That's the word I was looking for, of cookbooks. And you have become known for something that wasn't even your thing. Not that you have to monetize everything. I know I'm always having to say, you do not have to monetize everything that you get curious about. However, Uranus will give you the opportunity to shake up how you do whatever it is that you do in the Gemini part of your chart. Because this is a live stream, I'm going to take a look at my chatty chat to see if any of my friends who are here live have any questions or thoughts that they would like to share. And those of you watching in replay, hey replay crew, please be sure to drop me a comment, give me an emoji, say hello, share where this is landing for you if you're already starting to feel some of this shakeup. And keep in mind, you can look back to July 7th, 2025 to November 7th, 2025 for the preview that you got of this. So you got a 4-month glimpse at what this energy was going to feel like. And now for the next year in particular, you're going to be settling into this is the reality of where this shows up in my life and how this shows up in my life. And it's, like I said, going to feel like a lot of chaos at first because we just got to get used to it. And remember, Uranus is going to be moving fast because it is no longer pushing against the resistance of slow and low Taurus. It is going to be meeting that Gemini energy that's already whoosh, 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 whoosh. And it's just going to feel like an awful lot of that chaos. And if you're someone who is like, don't like chaos, not a fan of chaos, find a way to use a different word. Instead of chaos, it is an invitation for expansion. It is an opportunity for a new way of looking at things. It is a crack into my soul so that I can find freedom, because of course that's what Uranus is always trying to make available to us. Yay, Rain, so glad you're here. Hello, Holly. It is a lot already for my Pisces Sun, Aquarius rising, Capricorn moon. Honey, that whole last 3 signs in that car, in that life car, you have been feeling it. Oh my gosh, so much in Pisces, so much in Pluto being in Capricorn forever and now being in Aquarius. Like, honey, woo, goodness. I know it's going to feel good to get Uranus farther away from your life car. Of course, you're still going to feel it no matter what, because you have all 3 modalities in your life car, which means no matter what is happening out in the woo weather, somebody in your big 3 is getting that, like right in their lap. And so that life car is always experiencing something. And while I go, yay for the balance, because mine is like all cardinal. So it's like I get some time off when things are mutable and fixed, which is great. I love it. But then I get all the things when everything's cardinal, and that can be a lot. Pros and cons. Yours is all spread out, which means you never get a break from it. Yours is not quite as intense as it could be if it all piled on to one type of sign. So there's that. All right, Rain says, it's been a lot for me as well. Taurus sun, Sagittarius rising, Aquarius moon, Uranus and Sagittarius. Okay, those of you with Uranus and Sagittarius, I have a special note for you. You are going to be experiencing your Uranus opposition between now and 2033. Your Uranus opposition is what my mom, the astrologer, would have described as like the first of the big midlife transits. I would argue that starting with the nodal return around age 37, we are in it. It's like that lights a fuse, and it just keeps going and going and going all through our 40s and into our 50s. But the Uranus opposition is the one that my mom would have described as the midlife crisis transit. It is the one where we're in this happy marriage for decades. My parents were married for 28 years. Here we are. We're married for 28 years, and then suddenly husband grows a mustache, gets a motorcycle, and leaves. Boom, beep, beep. And it's like, that's a Uranus opposition. Whose Uranus opposition? Hers, his, both, because they were the same age. They met in high school. They were high school sweethearts. So just to be clear, the Uranus opposition is a moment when Uranus is going to be exactly opposite where they were when you were born. So this is for everybody with Uranus in Sagittarius. Between now and 2033, you are going to have your Uranus opposition. And when it is at that exact point of opposition, you are going to be able to later draw a line and say, oh my God, everything in my life can be measured before and after that moment. Now, Because Uranus is one of the slower planets, you're probably going to get 3 hits of it. And here's what I mean. Because Uranus retrogrades for long periods of time, like all the outers do for several months at a time, you're going to probably experience where Uranus gets exactly across from where they were when you were born. So you get that first hit of the opposition and then keeps going, but then there's going to be retrograde. So they're going to retrograde back over that same degree and you're going to get a second hit. And then they're going to go out back before it again. Then they're going to go back direct and come over it a third time. And so you get this 3 hits, 3 dates, usually within about 9 months of one another. So like the first, second, and third hits can be clustered, like the first one and then 8 months later you get second and third, or it could be first hit and then 2 months later second hit, and then not for another 7 months do you get the third hit. But usually somewhere within a 9-month range you're going to get those 3 exact hits of Uranus opposition, and that 9 months is going to tell the whole story of that before and after that you're going to be able to measure. Is it going to be tragic? Not necessarily. Is it going to be dramatic? A little. Is it going to be something after which you go, yep, there's now a kind of freedom in my life that didn't exist before? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And if you're curious about what that is, again, let's look back to 2025, July 7th to November 7th. Did you get a hint of what it might be? What kinds of themes were present and prevalent for you while Uranus showed us a little preview of Gemini time in 2025? Okay, the last 2 weeks, I've been dealing with headaches and fevers. Oh, all that Aries rain, I know. Seriously, cantankerous Aries stellium. It was too much. It was too much. I'm just officially saying it. It was too much on behalf of everybody who was feeling it. And like in our Discord, we had folks going, what is happening? And I'm like, I can't even crawl over to my Discord and say hello because I have a fever that is lasting for fuck ever. Aries. Now, come on. That's just a lot of energy. Okay, Holly says, my Uranus is in Capricorn. I believe I have crazy headache out of nowhere for a few days. Yeah, so the Aries part is likely more of the headache than anything that's going on with Uranus. I mean, medical astrology is its own whole thing, but Aries rules the head, and in general during Aries season we'll see people with a lot more head injuries, headaches, migraines, just like, oh my God, what is going on? My head tooth issues. These are all kinds of things, ear, nose, throat stuff that starts up during Aries season. And so some of it, especially because you've got big Capricorn, you could have been experiencing the juxtaposition of that square between Aries and Capricorn. It's possible. Yeah, absolutely. That could be a thing. So if you are someone who is far too young to be thinking about a Uranus opposition, I want to invite you to look at something called your Uranus square. And so this is also something, if you've not yet had your Uranus opposition, which happens around age 42, you can look back to your Uranus square for an idea of the kind of chaos that Uranus can kick up in your life and in your chart. And so what we want to look at for this is, when was Uranus in the sign of the same modality of your natal chart? So to use myself for an example, my natal Uranus is in Libra. That means my Uranus opposition was while Uranus was in Aries. Check, got that. So what would then be another cardinal sign that happened between Libra and Aries? That would be Capricorn. So while Uranus was in Capricorn, I was experiencing the upheaval of that Uranus square. And so before you get to your Uranus opposition around age 42, around age 21, you are having a Uranus square, and it is going to be a little disruptive. And of course you could look at that and go, well, sure, I'm 21. It's disruptive. I'm finishing college, or I'm going to college, or I'm entering the military, or I'm moving back home, or I'm leaving home. Like, there's just a whole lot around that time of life that is going to create change and freedom. So it's a little bit of a no duh, but then this is where the astrologer goes, did the astrology come first and society followed in that like pattern, or did it go the other direction? And I'll never tell. But take a look at when Uranus was in Capricorn. If you were born, no, so for Holly specifically, you were born in when Uranus was in Capricorn, you would look to when Uranus was in Aries for that square, because you're not yet going to get your opposition until Uranus moves into Cancer, and that's not going to happen until after 2033. So you got a while. Any ideas to get Uranus to stop with the headaches? If you think Uranus is the cause of the headaches, take a look at the Gemini part of your chart and ask, what could we be doing to relieve some of this pressure? And I know Uranus is not yet in Gemini, but if you're feeling, usually a headache is the pressure of something coming on. What do you have in late Taurus? Because Taurus can also do stuff that's like up here. It's not so much the head like Aries. It's much more of the neck, thyroid, throat in general. It can be the jaw. This is where, you know, it's not like there's a Berlin Wall and suddenly we go from Aries to Taurus. It is, the body is all connected, and so we just gradually realize, oh, we've moved into a different country's territory, and let's say it's all part of the Schengen region, and so we don't actually even have to stop and show a passport. We can just go right through, move right through. That's the kind of thing that usually happens when it comes to the physical stuff. I actually created, I'm gonna give you a glimpse of something that I created for my revisioning group. And this is a membership that is, I'll also put the link in my description of today's live stream for anybody who wants to check it out, because we are specifically working on health and medical astrology. And I have this that I created for Aries season. This is not medical advice. I am not a doctor. I do not play one on TV. Please make sure that you keep all of that in mind while you are looking at anything that I am sharing about medical or health astrology. But I created this for my brilliant, wonderful, beautiful revisioning members. And this is just an infographic about the Aries body and the body parts that it rules, and some teas, oils, foods, herbs, crystals, supplements, all sorts of witchy shit that you can do that gives you a little bit of help with tending to the Aries parts of your chart and of your body. And so just in general, what I do when I have a headache, I go, okay, Aries or Mars, ruler of Aries, what you doing? What you up to? What you trying to talk to me about? I will try to find some oil that is on this list, especially anything that is going to do pain relief. I keep frankincense. I actually have a thing of frankincense. Do I? Oh, this used to be, I used to keep my frankincense here. I've got passion here, which is also a Mars ruled blend. But what I will do is I just take a little bit of frankincense and put it right on my temples, because that takes care of not just pain relief, but specifically on the points of my temples. And then I may, like, again, you make sure that the oil is skin safe before you do something like I just did. Make sure it's connected with a carrier oil. If you are blending your own from raw, that one is already in a carrier oil. And then what I would do is I would just take my fingers and I would just do a little rub like this, and I would just say, thank you for reminding me I'm in a body. I always do that whenever I'm doing any kind of body astrology. I'm like, thank you for reminding me and thank you for, slow down, thank you for reminding me I'm in a body. And then I say to Mars, how else can you express other than giving me this particular sensation that I would label as pain? What is another way that we can have this communication? What's another way that we can connect? And I find that just getting curious about stuff like that will allow me to feel the energy shift, and it will show up somewhere else and usually out of my body. And it's fascinating to me how if I'm doing something that feels like Aries or Mars ruled, and I'm asking it to, please, could you settle down just a little bit? Because that's a whole lot of energy that you're putting at me right now. And I'm taking that on as pain, and I don't enjoy that physically. So please don't do that. I will have that conversation. And then the next thing I know, sirens, with just something going on down at the beach, and just whoom, sirens go by. And I'm like, hey, Mars, cool, thank you. Because it's like Mars came by and picked up the energy and took it elsewhere. That's something to think about. Revisioning is an amazing group / subscription. Oh, yay. Good. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Rain. I love it. To me, it is one of my favorite offers in my suite of chart harmony offers, but also it's just one of the favorite things that I do for me, because it is so completely focused on one sign at a time. And especially while we're doing the body astrology, it is such an overwhelming topic. Medical astrology is massive. And I took a lot of medical astrology courses and did a lot of practicum and spent a good amount of energy feeling like I could get my legs about me with medical astrology. And to be able to just focus in on one sign at a time and all of the things that it is magically and mystically connected to just feels so good in my body. And I really, really enjoy that. I love that focus, because I don't get to focus like that many other places in my chart. And I hear you, Holly, on not having fire in your chart. This could also be because you don't have fire in your chart. It's absolutely possible that what you are receiving when you feel a sensation that you would describe as a headache is an opportunity to connect with the fire that is in your chart. I also don't have a lot of fire in my chart. And so when there are things that fire me up or make me emotional, if I get stressed and I'm just feeling like, and I'm like, oh my God, I just want to yell. And I'm like, first of all, what is that? And I, of course, know from my chart what it is that's not getting expressed. And I check that and do some work around that. But more importantly, and what I share with you with this, is knowing that fire is already going to be something that is more challenging to access. Consider that when you burn yourself, when you get a headache, when you get when you bite the inside of your mouth, oh my God, that is such a fire thing trying to happen. And so instead of getting mad about it, I go, thank you for this expression of fire. How else can I express some fire other than this? And it'll be get some of my more fire-based crystals, or light some incense that comes from one of the fire families, or so on. Do a little EFT tapping and just say, thank you for expressing yourself this way. What are some other ways we can do this? Go get a good workout. That is a great way to express some fire. Take a hot bath. That is a little, water and fire at the same time. But if it's hot, you could get some of that fire out. Oh my gosh, we've done an hour. Beautiful people. Let me know what questions you might have as we close things off for today's conversation. Thank you for joining me for this. I had to do a redo of the timing on this because I was still unwell at the originally scheduled time of this. And so this is a last minute reschedule. And so I know this was not as planned on the calendar, but also it's the way it worked out. And that is a very Uranus-in-Gemini thing. To go, this is the way it's going to work out. What's going to give me more freedom? Sleeping in on Wednesday instead of doing a live stream. Interestingly enough, on Wednesday, I had a very, very full active day. I had the live stream, I had Mistress Minding to host, I had a doctor's appointment, dentist appointment on that afternoon, and I was like, this is already a full day with phoners between the Zooms. I'm like, okay, there's just going to be this whole thing that I've got to have energy for this day, and I still was not feeling very well from having been unwell for so long the weeks before. And so I canceled the live stream and then took a shower and then went to start Mistress Minding. And before I started Mistress Minding, I said, let me just do a quick check of my messages. And since I don't do email, I don't often do this. And so I was like, okay, check the devices, check the gadgets, just see what's going on. And I love to do it right before I'm about to go to a thing, because then I can't get involved in a conversation. I can't like get on a call. I can't reply because it's like, I don't have time. I see that it exists. Cool. And then I go on with the thing that is scheduled. That's a way that I also manipulate the algorithm in all of the things. Anyway, one of the messages that I had was the dentist canceling on me. The hygienist was not going to be coming in that afternoon, so I couldn't go get my deep cleaning that I was scheduled to have on Wednesday. And I went, how did my day go from all the things to none of the things? And I'm like, because that's exactly what was supposed to happen. And instead of looking at that as, oh no, I had plans and now it's different, I go, cool, getting that Uranus in Gemini ready. We're just like, hey, it's going to happen the way it's going to happen. It's going to be a little chaotic. It's going to be a little, I don't control a lot. But then that's when we also say, isn't it just an illusion of control anyway? Question mark. Okay. I don't see any new questions coming in, so I will thank you again for being here. Yeah, hopefully it does. Hopefully it does, Holly. I do. I'm sending you lots of good vibes, and hopefully like just already you've got some ideas of ways that you could shift the energy and see it less as fighting something and more of just where do we want to move that energy. Because we can't really destroy energy. I mean, not really, we can't. Energy is never destroyed or created. It is always just moved around. And so where do we want to move around some of the energy? And that might be a fun exploration to have. Thank you, Rain, for joining me. Thank you, everyone who was here during the live. And thank you, everyone who is watching in replay. I appreciate you so, so much. If you go to bonniegillespie.com/events, I will update the calendar over the weekend. I promise. I think I'm going to have the time and the energy to update my events calendar, so you will be able to keep up with when the next things are going to be happening. But I can take a quick glance at the May calendar and let you know that as of now, I have a live stream scheduled for Friday the 8th of May. I have Use Your Moons, Color Along With Me, scheduled for Tuesday the 19th of May. And I have one more live stream scheduled for Wednesday, the 27th of May. Of course, check bonniegillespie.com/events in case any of that may change, as well as getting the exact links and time and all of that good stuff. Absolutely my pleasure. I love y'all. Thank you for joining me. Mwah. Please take care of yourselves. I cannot wait to see how Uranus in Gemini creates freedom for us all. May it be for the best and highest for everyone without drama. And if there's drama, may it be the kind that we get to enjoy popcorn over, not the kind that we actually get to live through ourselves. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, beautiful.